All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. It's been a good spirited, heated debate, as it always is on this show. We're not afraid to take phone calls, but, you know, if you make yourself sound stupid or ridiculous, we are going to, well, I will call you out on it. I don't know if JD will. Will you?
I've never actually called anybody any names in the show, and I don't plan on starting now.
Okay, well, that's just not your style. I understand.
Idiot, buffoon.
Buffoonery is one of my favorite words of all time.
Moron. These are not words in my vernacular when it comes to the radio.
With this whole thing with Stormy Daniels, if you think that the victim here is Donald Trump and that Stormy Daniels is nothing but a liar and you believe everything Donald Trump has to say, you are what I would call a buffoon. You are drinking the Donald Trump Kool-Aid. It's like going from a sports.
So is it like a baboon and a fool, kind of like a hybrid of the two, or like what?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you an answer.
What is a buffoon? I'm confused.
I'm going to give you an answer like Donald Trump should have said this morning. And Brian made such a great point, caller. Don't always agree with Brian. But in regards to Otto Warmbier, Donald Trump should have said no comment. So I'm going to say no comment. I'm not going to give you a definition of buffoon. You make up your own definition, JD, and then we'll take it from there. Why don't we take one more phone call, and then we're going to maybe a few more, and then we'll get to Babcock. Let's go to Mike. Mike, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, Mike?
I'm doing well. Hey, why should Trump have to pay Stormy Daniels anything, even if she did accuse him of sleeping with her? Why
don't you ask Donald Trump that question? Because Donald Trump is the one that paid her.
Well, it's kind of like Cristiano Ronaldo. When he was accused of sexual assault, he just settled it out. Because sometimes it's just better to settle things than it is to deal with them publicly.
That's a question for Donald Trump, not for me.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's going to become public anyway. So why don't you just say, get the hell out of here with you, and I'm not paying you anything.
That's a valid.
She owes him $300,000.
Well, and not only that, but she also broke the non-disclosure agreement clearly, which has its own penalties.
Or I guess you could go the other route, Mike, and say if you're married and your wife just had a child, maybe you shouldn't go raw and try to have sexual relations with a porn star.
But again, you don't know that they didn't have an open relationship. You have no idea. Nobody does.
Well, I think we have a pretty good idea of what happened. Let's just put it that way. We got to take a few more quick calls here, and then we'll get to Mike. Let's go to David. David, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hello, Brian. Hello, JD.
What's up, David?
Hi.
Hey, good. JD, I just heard, Brian, you said that in regards to Stormy Daniels' defamation, Donald Trump did win a defamation lawsuit against her in California,
and there is an appeal in process, from my understanding.
Yes, but he did win. So, but the other thing is, I remember a couple of weeks ago there was somebody that said something in regards to why do we have so much hatred going on in this world, and I think that this is why, because of on how things are being spoken about on the air.
So it's my fault and not Donald Trump's fault.
It's all your fault, Brian.
Donald Trump has no responsibility in this at all?
I didn't say it, Brian.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, see, now you get very defensive.
I'm doing a radio show. I mean,
I understand you're doing a radio show, but this is the reason why we have so much disrespectful in our country.
David, I'll tell you why. Because hate makes the media money.
It makes money.
Hate makes the left and the right money.
Okay.
Having a very polarized country makes the left and the right. Makes the different networks money.
My point is that it doesn't, and like all other callers have said in regards to the office of the presidency, it doesn't matter who the person is that's in that position. I don't care how bad he is or how bad she is. They got to respect that office.
Why should we respect what he is doing when he doesn't respect others? Why should we respect him?
He does respect others.
Oh, really? He does? How about when he went after John McCain?
Brian, let me ask you this. Do you know Donald Trump?
I know the things he says.
No, you know Donald Trump.
So because I don't know him personally, that means I can't criticize him?
Do you know Donald Trump? And do you know...
Ridiculous, David.
No, it's not ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
See, there you go.
No, well, you're not listening to me.
I am listening to you.
No, you're not. You keep talking over me.
Doing the hatred.
David, why do you keep interrupting a talk show host? You got to let the talk show host talk. David, don't hang up on me.
It doesn't matter.
David, don't hang up on me, David. David, can you let the host talk, please?
No, it doesn't matter if you're
David.
Well, you're doing it.
David, please don't hang up on me. Please let me talk. David, you're doing it to me. Please don't hang up on me, David. David,
accusing Donald Trump.
David, can I please talk to the host? David, I'd like to speak to the host, please. Goodbye, David. You're an idiot. Goodbye. What do you think about that? You're the same moron who doesn't say anything or criticize Donald Trump for going after John McCain as a POW or going after any single person that disagrees with him. You don't seem to have a problem with that, but you have a problem with me on KDWN calling him an idiot or calling him a buffoon. It's my fault.
Hey,
You're right.
I thought he was pretty impressive. He stuck with it, and he didn't raise his voice.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, David.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, very impressive. Yeah, very impressive saying, do you know Donald Trump? What a stupid remark. So because I don't know Donald Trump personally, I can't criticize him? You know what? I don't know Scott Peterson personally either. I don't know O.J. Simpson personally, but I think O.J. Simpson is a buffoon and a murderer. Do I have to know O.J. Simpson personally? You know what? I don't know you personally, but you sound like a jackass. What do you think about that? Take one more call, then we'll go to Mike Babcock from TMZ. Mr. Bede. Thanks for calling in Mr. Bede. I like that name, Mr. Bede. How are you?
Bede. Brian, listen, I love your show because you generally hatch it out with these people, and it's extremely entertaining. I need you to keep them on the line longer. And I want to hear what they say, and then I want to hear what you say. But when you talk the same time they do, I'm losing out. I'm losing because it's such a great show. So please,
I appreciate
just
that.
let it keep going.
Okay,
I want
you
to
know
hear
what?
these
I
people want to say.
I hear you, Mr. Bede, and I am going to try to take your advice on this. Here's my one issue. I try to get to as many callers as I can, and if I have one Looney Tune on the, it comes down to this: would you rather have a Looney Tune talk for 5 minutes, or would you rather have 30 Looney Tunes talk for 30 seconds?
That's it.
Okay, you know what? Here's what I want you to do, Mr. Bede. I am going to take your advice. I want you to give me a call next week, and you tell me if you think I've made the effort. I am going to try for you. I'm being serious, by the way. I'm being genuine.
I love it.
Okay?
I love the back and forth. It's really awesome. Now,
I appreciate it. Mr. Bede, I appreciate you calling, and I will take that criticism. Quickly, please, quickly.
Hey, I was going to see if you could have one day, I challenge you this, sometime the next month.
Yes.
Where you, I love the Donald Trump stuff because, believe me, but I want you to get on the Democrats' case, like about Kate Steinle.
Yeah.
And other things that how they are, they bitch about these couple of kids that died recently at the border.
Yeah, they use it as a political ploy.
Yeah, and they thought it was just so dire emergency, and now all of a sudden it's not.
Yeah.
But, I know the dude in Korea got killed, which was not cool.
Yep.
But Donald Trump, he is in a position where, I'll tell you what, for you and me, world peace is number one. He has to toe the line. And
yeah, I agree.
He's trying to get world peace. And when someone dies because they went there, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's world peace that is
agree.
number one.
I agree, Mr. Bede. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have a nice segue here because now instead of talking about North Korean nukes, we're going to talk about Kraft and his nuke. And apparently it went off in a massage parlor. So we're going to talk about that next. Appreciate the call, Mr. Bede. It is that time of the week again, and I want a Kraft update. I want a Kraftgate update. God, they do such a great job on TMZ, and we always love having this guy on the line with us. It is Mr. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. How's it going, Mike?
What's up, Brian? His nuke went off twice. Allegedly.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so when you first heard this story, and you guys have done such a great job covering this Kraft story at these, what is it, Orchids of Asia, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
Shock. I want to say the story came out Friday morning when the cops announced it, but on Thursday afternoon we started getting maybe 4 or 5 tips. And usually when something's, coming in like that from numerous people who are seemingly not connected, it usually is real. But we didn't do the story because it just seemed so unbelievable. And not having been able to get any confirmation on that Thursday, we didn't put the story up. But we were ready for it because we knew there was a press conference coming the next day. And I was just shocked. A 77-year-old man, one of the most well-respected men in the NFL, a guy with $6 billion plus. Shocking.
Are there any other big names that you think might be in this? Have you guys heard any rumors, or is Kraft the only one?
No, Kraft's the only one. A business executive from Citigroup, but I think that Schefter report was just a little, off base. I don't think that was in fact true. This was a very widespread investigation. It went way further than just the Jupiter Police Department. The FBI was involved. There were Homeland Security, a lot of federal agencies, because it wasn't about the Johns or Robert Kraft. It was about the human trafficking aspect of it. So there were a lot of people arrested, but nobody of the stature of Robert Kraft.
So he obviously wants this to go away, but this will tarnish him, unfortunately, for the rest of his life, and I don't think he deserves it. Yes, he did break the law. This stuff happens everywhere, especially Las Vegas. But my question is, and I wish somebody would, I don't know if Kraft he will probably never talk about this. You have all that money. I say the same thing about Steve Wynn. It ruined his legacy here in Vegas. You have all that money. Why are you walking into one of those mini malls at a massage parlor if you need to get off? I mean, why would he choose that place of all places to do it? I don't understand.
Right. I don't know if it's for any other reason besides it's a couple minutes from his Palm Beach house, but to be driven there in a Bentley 2 days in a row, the one of those days being the morning of the AFC Championship game where he's thrusting the trophy in the air later on that night, it doesn't make any sense. And I talked to his spokesperson, who was the Patriots spokesperson, that Friday when the story broke, and they vehemently denied doing anything illegal. Now, the following day, it comes out that the cops got a warrant, and they had a camera inside of the room, and in graphic detail, they described what they saw on the 19th and the 20th when he came in. One of those days involved two women. I try to keep it clean here. One involved two women. The next day, it involved just one woman, and he was in there for 14 minutes on that second day. So he was in and out. But they say they have the crime all on tape. Now, I went back to someone that was close to Robert Kraft after it was revealed that they had video, and I said, does your defense change now that they say they have this on video? And he said, I keep hearing people say that we said that Kraft did nothing wrong. We didn't say that. We just said he did nothing illegal. So I think that's a little window into how they're going to try to fight this. I think there's probably a number of ways just from attorneys that I've talked to. Maybe they say it was consensual sex, and he just gave her money because he gave her money, but he wasn't paying for sex, for a sex act. So he is standing firm in saying that he did nothing illegal here, and he pled not guilty today. So they are going to fight this thing.
What's amazing to me, I think what we've learned about Mr. Kraft more than anything is that he's very quick to the finish line. Isn't that true, Mr. Babcock?
Yeah, 14 minutes. And that's not just 14 minutes from when the sex act started. That's 14 minutes in the door, takes his clothes off, hugs her, and yeah, pretty fast. What
we've learned is that Kraft can score a touchdown faster than Tom Brady's ever been able to score a touchdown. I think that's what we've learned. Okay, so explain to me what is going to happen to Mr. Kraft now. What is the latest information on this whole thing as far as today goes?
Well, the absolute latest is when they had the press conference, they hadn't yet charged him. So on Monday, they charged him. And when we're talking about a misdemeanor here, all it is delivering a summons to his attorney's office. He hired an attorney in Florida. They delivered the summons to the attorney. The attorney accepted it. And then today, they pled not guilty. So that's the absolute latest. Nothing else has happened. He is due in court at the end of March. It's a misdemeanor that people, I think, are getting carried away with. Are they going to take his team from him? No, they're not going to take his team. Do you think that the NFL owners want to start taking teams from people who get misdemeanors and then have that heat one day directed back at them? I mean, the reality is it's a misdemeanor. He could go to jail for a year. That's the absolute worst. Do I think there's any chance that he's going to go to jail? No. He could do a bunch of community service and a fine and have to take a class on prostitution. So maybe some of that stuff happens, but no, I don't think he's going to jail. It does seem like he's going to fight this, and maybe he's going to have a good lawyer.
Just the idea of Kraft at a class at a prostitution.
Just sitting there. What is he? 77 years old.
Yeah.
Look,
that would be just awful.
Pretty clear. Sex trafficking, that's not a laughing matter. I'm not so sure that there was sex. Was there sex trafficking? I know that I heard that a couple of these women were living there in the spa. Are they accused of sex trafficking at that particular spa?
Right. So, yes, but the women who allegedly serviced Kraft were the people who actually, one who managed the place allegedly, and there was another woman who worked there, but apparently that wasn't wasn't a human trafficking situation. That woman was allegedly there on her own free will. So even the women involved in the Kraft situation, seemingly there was no sex trafficking, human trafficking going on with his particular situation.
Mike, switching topics, how did the Dodgers lose Bryce Harper?
Yeah, I just think they didn't. They didn't make the biggest offer. I think it's very clear that this contract could have been signed weeks, months ago. The Phillies, they told everybody with their new ownership, they said they were going to spend stupid money, and this deal, from everything I've heard, was out there for weeks, if not months. Like I said, I think he was hoping that the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Cubs were going to get in on it, but it obviously didn't happen. And 13 years, it is incredibly long. I talked to people today. They said that what was important to him was getting the longest deal possible. But hearing that there were deals for $45 million a year for a handful of years, I don't know why you don't sign those. I would imagine that as revenue grows, that the contracts will grow, despite what we've seen in free agency the last 2 years. I don't know. I would have taken the $45 million a year for a couple of years, went somewhere else, and then tried to sign a bigger deal a couple of years down the line.
And for the record, last I've heard, Bryce Harper has never been seen in a massage parlor in Las Vegas. So that's the good news for Bryce Harper. So I have one more Kraft question, okay? Let's talk about this video that people have. Law enforcement, I would imagine, they have this video, right? Not that I want to see Mr. Kraft naked and want to see his little patriot saluting. I do not want to see that, okay? I don't think a lot of people do. But with that being said, eventually, right, this video is going to be released. And I know police said, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but they said it's going to be a while, before this video is released. First of all, how could anyone show this video? It's going to have to be edited. There's going to have to be a lot of black boxes in this video. But talk to me. You specialize in this sort of stuff with these videos. Talk to me about when and if it's going to be released and who's going to see it first. Are you guys going to get it first? How's this going to work?
Right. Well, typically, if there's an ongoing case, which this obviously is, they won't, and if the video is part of the evidence in the case, then they won't release it. So I wouldn't expect, if the video ever sees the light of day, I think it would be after all of these cases are cleared here. We talk to people in the Jupiter Police Department, and I think they understand that Robert Kraft is a very wealthy man, and it would obviously do him an untold amount of embarrassment if they were to have this video released. So he is going to fight like hell to not have this video released. And it sounds like, from what we were told, that they're talking with lawyers, and they're trying to figure out if they have the right to even release this, because you can request. We put in FOIA request for freedom of information requests every single day, and Florida is a particular place that happens to be very lenient. They will release a lot more, whereas some states don't release anything. So
interesting.
But I think they're being very careful here. My gut tells me that we're not going to see the video, but I don't have any proof that that's not going to happen.
Mike,
I don't know if I want to see it.
Right. I don't think a lot of people do. I certainly don't, unless you have a fetish for 77-year-old men that have a lot of money and own football teams. I don't think too many people are. I don't think it's going to. Yeah, I don't think so.
You're right. If you ever do see it, it'll be heavily redacted. There'll be black bars all over the place.
Yes. Whether it's a small black bar or a big black bar, that's something I might be interested. Yeah, we'll find out. So do you think this sets a precedence, Mike, for team owners if they're really stressed out before a championship game in the playoffs? Do you think they're like, well, Kraft did it. No wonder why he looks so relaxed at the game. Do you think this sets a precedence for other owners?
Maybe it's good luck.
That's possible, Mike.
He looked happy. I went back and looked at pictures from the Juice game, and he just, a little pep in his step that day. Now we know.
He got a little something from the orchids of Asia. Mike,
and now it's become. I know you got to go. It's become a madhouse outside of that place now. We got pictures the other day of a guy completely naked standing in front of the closed spot, no clothes on.
So do you think that's an interesting point you made? It's like a tourist spot now. Do you think? What do you think is going to happen to that spot? Do you think like the rent is going to go up just because of this situation?
They could turn it into like a historical monument or something. I don't know. It's not open right now. I don't think it'll ever.
Every single diehard Patriots fan will have to go there as kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah. Think the prices they could charge
exactly.
if they were allowed to get away with it.
You know what I think it should do? Footballs, basketball sell a lot of balls in there and things that can inflate balls. I think that's what they should do. I think it would be a smash hit. Mike, sincerely, man, you guys did a great job covering this story. Stay on it, and look forward to catching up with you next week, my man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk then.
All right, there you go. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Oh, my goodness. What a crazy, crazy story. If you told me what celebrity would be the next person to be, caught at a massage parlor, Kraft would probably be the last guy that I would have thought would have done that hours before the championship game in the playoffs. I am just shocked beyond belief, but you never know. I mean, if you told me Steve Wynn was doing stuff like that months ago, I probably wouldn't have believed you either. But you know what? There's wealthy men out there that are, maybe not a bunch of 20-year-old women are not, dying to go on a date with. Doesn't matter how much money you have. And they need some release. And I'm not defending Kraft in any way, shape, or form. But I guess maybe, JD, we should not be surprised. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised anymore. Who's the next person that could get caught? Sheldon Adelson? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. I would hope Sheldon wouldn't be involved in this type of activity, but hey, who am I to say? Steve Wynn got caught. Not at massage parlors. More serious incidents. He's dished out a lot of money. But it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. What if we learned tomorrow that Donald Trump frequented massage parlors in Las Vegas and he got caught? What would you say to that before he was president, or when he was president? What do you think would happen there?
When he was president?
Yeah. What if we learned
that's something totally different? But
that wouldn't happen.
I'm guessing that he probably frequented quite a few bathhouses in New York City.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty confident that's the case.
That wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, the president, it's almost impossible. You'd have to bring Secret Service men with him to walk into a massage parlor. I don't think that would happen. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a wild and crazy story. He is certainly going to pay the price, not financially. It's not an issue of the law. It's not an issue.
Isn't that crazy? He's a billionaire. He's what is he? Is he late 70s or is he early?
77, I believe.
He's 77 years old.
It's
His wife passed away 2 or 3 years ago of cancer.
Very sadly, yes. He's got a girlfriend.
Is it that crazy?
What do you think?
It's not that crazy.
No, it's not. It's just crazy that he got caught.
Well, the problem is he happened to run into a sex trafficking operation. But if this was totally by the book and legal and prostitution was legal,
which it's not,
and they were obviously
crazy that he's a billionaire and he took a chance going into a place like that, a very high-profile figure. Obviously, these women had absolutely no idea who he was, or they would have sold the story.
Which is probably why he did.
Yeah. 257-5396. Good point. 702-257-5396. We'll squeeze in a few quick phone calls here. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, Joseph?
I don't want. Hey, why is this such a big deal? I know were the girls underage or no?
Not that. As far as I know, no.
No, they were just victims of sex trafficking.
No, not necessarily. Not the ones that were servicing him. If you listen to Mike Babcock, Joe, I agree. Listen, I agree with you. To me, it shouldn't be a huge deal. Obviously, sex trafficking is a serious thing, but as far as I know, the people that were servicing Kraft were not being sex trafficked. The bigger deal here is the fallout and the embarrassment.
Right. But if you ask any average Joe here in Vegas, who hasn't been in a massage parlor on Spring Mountain?
Well, JD, have you been to a massage parlor on Spring Mountain? Let's ask JD.
I've never actually been. I've driven past.
He's driven past it.
Many times.
Yeah.
But I stopped and got ice cream instead.
Joe, I've said it on the air before. I'll say it again. I think a lot of this stuff needs to be legalized. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
That's the best comment I heard all night.
Yeah, and it would be so much safer.
Wait, what do you mean? You mean when I called a couple callers morons and idiots, you didn't like that? Come on.
No, I don't call people idiots unless you're my brother-in-law.
Okay, fair enough, Joe. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you for the call, my man. I appreciate it. He makes a good point. This isn't a huge deal. Sex trafficking is a serious issue. I don't think Kraft played a role in that, and you could make the argument, well, people like Kraft, they go into these massage parlors, and they're helping the sex traffic industry. Okay, I'll hear you out on that. All I'm saying is if you asked Kraft, I truly believe he would not want a woman being treated unfairly or doing something against their will. And it doesn't appear that these women were doing anything against their will. In fact, they gave him a hug, and then in about 30 seconds or 45 seconds, they got a nice crisp $100 bill. I'm not saying I would do that. Maybe JD would for $100. I don't know. I'm just saying I wouldn't do it. That's all. Well, you know what? Raise the price. I'm trying to figure out how much money it would take for me to perform an act like that on Mr. Kraft. Boy, I just put myself in a really bad spot here. I'm going to say it'd probably have to be enough money to spend the rest of my life and not have to work, because I would probably be, I guess you could say, I'd be haunted by having to look at Mr. Kraft naked and touching him. So there would not be a good spot.
I feel like you would spend 2 to 3 hours a day crying.
Most likely, yes. All right, Johnny Katz from the Review-Journal coming up next, everybody, on the who, what, when, where, and why of Las Vegas this weekend. What are you looking to do? Johnny Katz joining us next. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.